You are now watching The Lone Blown. Blown!
Yo, what's poppin' YouTube? You're back here at The Lone Blown. Thanks so much for coming by. Today we're going to be going over a cool deck, absolutely one of my favorite decks from the Sword and Shield era of the Pokemon TCG, and that is Lapras. So Lapras is a kind of a deck that never got a chance to see success. It's really powerful concept because you can attach a lot of energies with Frosmoth, but in our current format, which is Ultra Prism all the way to Rebel Clash, we have Pikarom that's kind of gatekeeping it away. In this new format, Pikarom loses Volkner, Thunder Mountain, Prism Star, Zorora GX, handful of cards, Electro Power, so it's really not the beast that it once was, to the point where it's not overly playable. That gives Lapras a chance to shine, especially considering the fact that we have Centiskorch VMAX that is a tier 1 deck at the moment. So let's jump into this deck profile, show you exactly what we got on with Lapras, and away we go. So starting off, we have 3 copies of Lapras V. So Lapras V is the necessary card to evolve into Lapras VMAX. So that's kind of cool. 210 HP, pretty basic there for a Pokemon V. Body Surf's a great way to attach extra energy and to kind of put the Lapras on the bench. Ocean Loop is a great way to do 210 for 4 energies, and you can pick 2 energies back up, or not, you have to pick 2 energies back up. So you can save those energies for another Lapras or Lapras VMAX. Really basic kind of deck. This is a great deck. I'd recommend it for players who are entering into the game, or players that are really fans of Lapras, because this deck slaps. We got 2 copies of Lapras VMAX. So Lapras VMAX is 90 plus 30 for each water energy attached to it. So basically the goal of the deck is load up Lapras with as many energies as you need. So with the G-Max pump doing a lot of damage. So if we have 9 energies on a Lapras, 9 times 3 is 270 damage, plus we have the 90 base damage, so that's 360 damage with the G-Max pump. That can knock out an Eternatus VMAX easily. And before you're like, yo Zach, it's kind of hard to get 9 energies on a Pokemon, this deck plays Frosmoth. But how do we evolve into Frosmoth? We gotta play one of the cutest Pokemon ever, Snom. Snom is absolutely adorable. Nothing to say more than it's adorable. It evolves into Frosmoth. We can attach all the energies we want with Frosmoth. We gotta make sure it's on the bench though to power up the Lapras VMAX. So you can see that it's a really simple, we're getting out Lapras, we're doing stuff, we're attaching energies. We've got a couple copies of the Dedenne, the cool new ones from the trainer toolkits. I really like this art. These ones are in Japanese because I like printing off Japanese proxies sometimes, and I've been playtesting with these decks for a little bit over a month. We also have a copy of Crobat V. So Crobat V, from what I understand, is the only new card out of this deck. So you could currently play this deck in our UPR to Rebel Clash format. Again, watch out for Pikarom. But Crobat V is the only card that you need. So if you acquire all these cards now, this is the only card you need from Darkest Ablaze. You probably want to pick these up anyways. It's really just there to be a different Dedenne. So when you're searching through your deck, you're like, yo, do I want to get Dedenne stuff, like to pitch my hand away, or do I want to draw some more cards? Especially considering you could attach all the energies with Frosmoth, you might be able to draw more cards with Crobat's ability. And if you're looking for any translations when it comes to this, check out the description, because there are translations along with the deck lists, and there's also social media as well, so be sure to check that out. Got Professor's Research right here. Got 4 copies of that card. I mean, this is a staple in most every single deck, unless you're like playing like a welder deck or something like that. It's just pitch and draw 7. This card's been around for a while. There was Professor Juniper, Professor Sycamore, now we have Professor's Research. It's been reprinted like 3 times as 3 different cards. It's absolutely a staple. And we got 4 copies of Marnie. Similar to the Dedennes, they are in Japanese, but it's the same Dedenne, or the same Marnie. Just shuffling your hand, putting it at the bottom of your deck. You get 5, your opponent does the same, they get 4. not necessarily to disrupt our opponent. It's kind of the Cynthia. We need a shuffle draw in our deck, just in case we have things that we don't want to pitch away, for example. We also have a couple copies of Boss's Orders that are also in Japanese. We want to bring up the Pokemon that we want to bring up and just knock them out. Boss Orders allows us to do that. With cool cards like Dedenne and Crobat, we can power up the Lapras up really quickly and kind of explode on our opponent, have that big turn. So if they have an Eternatus or another VMAX chilling on the bench, it's pretty easy for us to knock them out. We've got a couple copies of Viridian Forest. So Viridian Forest will allow us to search for energies. I mean, it's really good with Frosmoth just to search out more energies. Just be careful with the timing, because if you use Viridian too early, you might be denying yourself easier access with Professor's Research. So you might want to have actually the energies in your deck and finish your turn off with Viridian Forest. Just kind of think about how you're going to play out your turn. Make sure that you're sequencing it properly. And we do have a copy of Air Balloon. A lot of the Pokemon in this deck have 2 or less retreat. So Air Balloon's a really good way to put something in the active position, power up something with Frosmoth, and then retreat and then attack with the Lapras GMAX Pump. Like most other decks in the format, we have 4 copies of Quick Ball. This is just a guarantee that we can get out our Snom and our Lapras V turn 1. We can also turn it into a Dedenne-GX or a Crobat V to draw some cards. This deck also has 2 copies of Pokémon Communication, which are great. It's very difficult to search out VMAX Pokemon at this time. We currently have 3, 5, 11, 14 cards in our deck. 14 cards is under the threshold that I usually play with Pokemon Communication, but we don't necessarily just want to play Evolution Incense. Pokeball might be interesting when it comes to this deck. I actually wouldn't mind playing that. I just really don't like coin flips. But this is the number of like 14 and below is what I'd play for Pokeball, or maybe doing a split like this. We do have Evolution Incense. The Evolution Incense works really well because we do have Frosmoth and we have Lapras VMAX. So to the 14 Pokemon, we have 5 out of 14, which only leaves 9 basics. So it's a pretty good mix. I think that's why the Evolution and the Pokemon Communication splits a little bit better in this deck. Cool card that a lot of players haven't really looked into is Capacious Bucket. This deck really gained a lot from Rebel Clash from this card. It's just in our current format, like I said, the UPR to Rebel Clash formats, Pikarom is one of the gatekeepers because it's lightning type, and Lapras is weak to lightning type. So it absolutely would obliterate Lapras. But nowadays we got the Capacious Bucket. Don't need to worry about Pikarom, don't really need to worry about too many lightning type Pokemon at all. This deck's absolutely busted. Got 4 copies of Switch. This is just so that we could do Frosmoth things. The cool art from Celestial Storm there. We got a few copies of Energy Retrieval. So the Energy Retrieval will allow us to get back energies that are discarded throughout the game. So don't be too worried if you're discarding energies with the Dedenne. Just really keep that in mind though. Like, don't discard too many, discard enough. You do have Energy Retrieval, and we do also have Ordinary Rod as well. So Ordinary Rod will allow us to get back some of our resources. So just keep that in mind while you're playing it out. And we also have a handful of Water Energies. So we currently have 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got 13 Water Energies. So that should be enough to make this deck go round. Just want to make sure I counted that right. Yeah, we got 13. Could this deck see another Water Energy? Yeah. It's going to be weird to play around with because I'm still not entirely sure how this deck sees success in a VMAX format. And that's to say, like, VMAXs haven't necessarily been great in our Ultra Prism to Rebel Clash format so far. Dragapult's really the only playable one. Is this deck going to be super playable? I think it's closer to tier 1 than people think. We might need more energies depending on the top decks in the format, but that's really only going to be decided once more players are playing in the Darkness Ablaze format. I have been testing the format a lot, but my testing's limited in comparison to a whole player base playing with cards. So overall, I think this deck's absolutely sweet. This deck slaps, as some would say, because slap, Lapras, Slapras. So got a dab on him. Hopefully y'all enjoyed this deck profile. If you want to give this deck a try on PTCGO, Just remember that Crobat V is from Darkness Ablaze, but you could probably replace that with something else. Just watch out for Pika ROM. But next format, we don't have to deal with it. Thanks so much for watching, peeps, and stay tuned for next time.
Really hope that you enjoyed watching that video. I totally enjoyed making it. If you enjoyed it, be sure to like the video, share the video with everyone that you know, and subscribe to the channel as well. Totally appreciate all the support. We got a lot of cool things happening on the channel, so stay tuned for more. Be sure to check out the social links in the description. Thanks and have yourself a great one.